its killer combination of horror and shonen action themes, Jujutsu Kaisen takes us into the fascinating world of curses. In a universe weighed down by negativity, young students at two schools for Jujutsu Sorcerers, one in Tokyo and the other in Kyoto, strive to make a difference. Do these exceptional young adults have what it takes to carry on the traditions and responsibilities of their guild? To answer this question, we'll be ranking and explaining characters featured not only in the anime, but also in the manga and the film Jujutsu Kaisen 0, which is canon. So for fans who are not familiar with the manga and movie, a spoiler alert is now in effect. Before we get to the video, a friendly reminder to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to like, turn on the notifications, and leave us your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. And now, on to the video. We start the ranking with Miwa Kasumi, a second-year student at Kyoto Jujutsu High. Miwa is an average grade 3 sorcerer without an innate curse technique. To briefly explain the power scaling system in Jujutsu Kaisen, grades range from grade 4, which is the lowest, to special grade, which is the highest. While she lacks great combat skills, Miwa is pure-hearted and hardworking. The sole student from Kyoto who is against Itadori Yuji's assassination, her utter lack of interest in the politics of the Jujutsu Society makes her somewhat similar to Yuji. Unluckily, in her very first battle, she is pitted against Zen and Maki in the Kyoto Sister School Goodwill event. But Miwa doesn't shy away from a fight. Having mastered the simple domain to counter the more powerful domain expansion, she defends against curse techniques by setting up a barrier around herself. Miwa's new shadow style, Simple Domain, is quite impressive, even if her use of it against Maki fails. Miwa is also proficient in Bato sword drawing, which accelerates her drawing speed by cloaking her blade with cursed energy. With the potential to grow as a swordsman of high caliber, we can assume that this isn't the last we see of Miwa. Flying in at number 14 is Nishimiya Momo. A semi-grade 2 sorcerer, she isn't far above Miwa, but her innate technique of tool manipulation makes her a valuable asset. Nishimiya uses a broom that she maneuvers telekinetically with her cursed energy. This makes her perfect for recon missions. Nishimiya is also quite opinionated. In her clash with Tokyo Jujutsu High's Kugisaki Nobara, she makes her hatred for patriarchal norms crystal clear. But one cannot win a fight with ideals alone. On the brink of being dealt a crushing defeat by Nobara, Nishimiya is saved only by Zen and Mai's interference. Nishimiya's appearance as a quintessential witch on a broom who just happens to resemble Temari from the Naruto series, complete with a similar wind scythe attack, is somewhat jarring from the other characters, who come across as more original and interesting. The concept of twins in horror narratives has always been intriguing, and it isn't any different in the case of the Zenin twins, Mai and Maki. However, unlike her older twin, Mai makes an appearance at a lowly number 13. Hailing from one of the 3 top Jujutsu clans, the Zenin sisters were ostracized for their gender and inadequacy in sorcery. Mai was born with very little talent for Jujutsu, and although she inherited an innate technique unlike Maki, her limited cursed energy proved insufficient in making her technique effective. A grade 3 sorcerer from Kyoto Jujutsu High uses construction, which allows her to make matter out of cursed energy, but the ability leaves her drained. As she can use this technique only once a day, it is highly ineffective in a fight against a superior opponent. However, to her credit, Mai plays a central role in Maki's rebirth, which we will tackle later on higher up in the rankings, so stay tuned. Next up at number 12 is Kokichi Muta, the brains behind Ultimate Mechamaru. A semi-grade 1 sorcerer, Muta is an expert curse puppet manipulator and tactical genius. The reason he ranks quite low is solely on account of the bad decisions he makes, the worst of which is his betrayal of the Jujutsu community in exchange for a healthy body. But can we really blame him? Born with heavenly restriction, which endows him with enormous cursed energy but places horrid limits on his physical body, such as missing limbs, immobility, and an aversion to natural light, Muta lives his life in painful loneliness. However, he does redeem himself as he makes a spectacular final stand against the cursed spirit Mahito after the latter fixes his crippled body. The Mecha Sorcerer leaves us stunned as he commandeers his arsenal of robots and his cursed energy output momentarily reaches the level of a special grade. Unfortunately, he never gets to meet his friends in person even after realizing his dream. The next contender, the panda who is not a panda, takes the 11th spot. An abrupt mutated curse corpse created by Tokyo Jujutsu High principal Yaga Masamichi, Panda attends school along with Maki, Okotsu Yuta, and Inumaki Toge. He is a grade 2 sorcerer and best known for his flawless victory over Muta's Ultimate Mechamaru. To a certain extent though, we can assume Panda won the fight because Muta underestimated his intelligence and looked down on him for being a cursed corpse. Contrary to his harmless outward appearance, Panda packs quite a punch as we see him display a series of impressive transformations by switching out his Cursed Corpse cores. Possessing 3 types of these cores, Panda can transmute into a Balance-type panda, a gorilla, and a Triceratops or Rhino hybrid. Having seen his marked increase in speed, durability, and power in his gorilla mode, we can only wonder just how fearsome his Rhino hybrid mode would be. At number 10, the cursed speech user steals his way into our hearts by speaking in rice ball ingredients. As adorable as that sounds, Toge is a semi-grade 1 sorcerer and has inherited the Inumaki clan's cursed speech, which automatically makes him a feared and respected sorcerer. By uttering a single command, Toge can make his target explode or twist grotesquely, which is why he uses his unique language of ingredients to protect those around him. The effect of his curses, however, corresponds to the strength of his opponent. Highly intelligent and perceptive, Toge was the only student capable of immobilizing the special grade cursed spirit Hanami during the exchange event. But for all that, Toge's incredible powers come at a cost. They leave him physically drained and hurt his throat. Toge is heavily dependent on a cough formula while fighting, which is a major weakness for the talented sorcerer. And that's why he doesn't make the big league. At number 9, we have the boisterous Tokyo freshman Kugisaki Nobara. Created on the lines of a Japanese sukeban, or delinquent girl, Nobara kicks ass right from her introduction till her last stand against the special grade cursed spirit Mahito. Beginning her Jujutsu journey as a grade 3 sorcerer, Nobara easily earns the recommendation of senior sorcerers to be promoted to grade 1. Adept at using her innate straw doll technique, which involves a hammer and nails, Nobara uses a straw doll reminiscent of voodoo, with which one normally curses somebody. This ritual activates resonance, which exercises the threat as large spikes erupt from within it. We see this when she turns the table on Mahito, which not many sorcerers can boast of. Another trump card up Nobara's sleeve is her ability to use Black Flash like Yuji, which amplifies her destructive power 2.5 times more than usual. And that's why we can't stop hoping for her to make a full comeback in the future. Strikingly different from Nobara is the regal and conservative Kamo Noritoshi, who is the heir to the Kamo clan and our next contender at number 8. Named after the most evil sorcerer of all time, Kamo is the exact opposite of evil. But like the Zenin sisters, he too had a traumatic childhood, which has warped his sensibilities to such an extent that it has made him accept his family's twisted values unquestioningly. As semi-grade 1 sorcerer, Kamo uses his family's acclaimed blood manipulation technique. As an expert marksman, he uses blood-dipped arrows that defy physics and serve as homing missiles. In the clash with Fushiguro Megami, who has inherited the Zenin clan's prized 10 Shadows technique, Kamo fought him on an equal footing. His blood manipulation can be said to be one of the most versatile Jujutsu skills, giving the caster enhanced and balanced abilities. It is also one of the most visually appealing curse techniques seen so far. Coming in at number 7 is the starry-eyed Kurara Hoshi, a third-year student at Tokyo Jujutsu High who has been MIA following classmate Hakari Kinji's suspension. Both Kurara and Kinji's grades have not been released so far, but given that Kinji holds a lot of promise in Gojo Satoru's eyes, we can safely assume that Kurara doesn't lag too far behind. With Kinji, Kurara runs the Gachinko Fight Club, which hosts hand-to-hand combat tournaments between sorcerers for money. Kurara is a cerebral fighter and matches Megami as a tactician. In a 2 versus 1 fight against Megami and Panda, Kurara easily ensnares them with Love Rendezvous, a complex innate technique that confuses the opponents with its rules and deals massive damage by hitting them with heavy objects marked with cursed energy. Kurara comes close to victory and is only held back by Megami's keen observational skills. A man among men, Todo Aoi makes the 6th spot. He is the only student among exceptional grade 1 Jujutsushi, which is the highest position a sorcerer can hope to achieve by the natural progression of ranks. This speaks volumes about his prowess. A straightforward man who chooses his friends according to their taste in women, he guides Yuji on how to tap into his Black Flash. Mentored by Tsukumo Yuki, one of the 4 special grade sorcerers, Todo is a legend among his peers for having slaughtered 6 high-level curses on his own during the night parade of 100 demons. But it's when he teams up with Yuji to destroy the cursed spirit Hanami that we see him shine. Todo's use of his curse technique, Boogie Woogie, displays his inborn knack for strategy. Boogie Woogie allows him to switch places with anything with cursed energy simply by clapping his hands, which is understandably disorienting in a fight. His ability to come up with creative counters within a fraction of a second reduces Hanami to a punching bag. This memorable clash cements Todo's proclamation of having an IQ of 53,000, contrary to his brawny appearance and funny ways. And now it's time for the major players. Rounding off the top 5 is Fushiguro Megami, a genius who has reached the pinnacle of Jujutsu with the domain expansion in the blink of an eye. Although his domain is still incomplete without a sure hit function, his Chimera Shadow Garden unlocks his potential to a whopping 110%. A descendant of the Zenin clan, Megami inherited the 10 Shadows technique from his father Zenin Toji. This enables him to use Shikigami created from his own shadow. For a Shikigami user, Megami is also adept at hand-to-hand combat, which is rare and makes his moves hard to read. But it's his domain expansion that makes him especially formidable and capable of making short work even of special grade curses. Unlike Yuji's warm personality, Megami's character is more sinister, as is evident from his killing spree at the culling game invoked by Kenjaku. Yet to see how his character progresses as the story unravels, Fushiguro Megami is one to watch out for. It might be disheartening to see the hero at number 4, but we have our reasons. Yuji has come a long way from being a normal kid to the prodigy Gojo-sensei has high hopes for. Known as the Tiger of West Junior High, does Yuji's superhuman physical abilities as a regular human hint at a mysterious family background? We'll have to wait and see. We've seen that he's a fast learner, mastering Divergent Fist and Black Flash within months. He uses these explosive attacks to make up for his lack of an innate technique. He's also constantly adapting his martial arts, surpassing Todo in the process, and managing to break Nanami Kento's record of 4 consecutive Black Flashes on his very first try. As the boy who swallowed 15 of Ryomen Sukuna's fingers and survived, the Jujutsu world expects a lot from Yuji. But serving as a vessel for the King of Curses also makes him a ticking bomb. He has no control over Sukuna thanks to the binding vow he made with the cursed spirit. A direct fallout of this is the massacre at Shibuya as Sukuna goes on the rampage. And that's why Yuji still has a long way to go before he bests our next 3 contenders. The Gambler of Death, Hikari Kinji, is our pick for number 3. This third-year student at Tokyo Jujutsu High is a rebel and hence an eyesore for the conservative Jujutsushi brass. He is currently suspended after assaulting one of them. Kinji now lives a self-serving, wild lifestyle, all for the sake of what he calls his fever. And true enough, every aspect of Kinji, including his curse technique, Private Pure Love Train, is audacious. Mostly used with his domain expansion, Idol Death Gamble, it allows Kinji to hold a game of chance as a scene from the Private Pure Love Train manga plays out. A pachinko-themed domain, it provides Kinji with a 1 in 239 chance of hitting the jackpot, which grants him unlimited cursed energy for 4 minutes and 11 seconds. The limitless energy allows him to use reverse curse technique, which automatically heals any injury, thereby making him invincible. In the culling game match against Kashimo Hajime, Kinji comes close to death several times and is saved only by his unkillable mode. His tricky powers are a gamble, but Kinji overturns that with his incredible luck. If there's one thing that can trump luck, it surely must be a god. And that is exactly what Maki has become since the incidents of the Perfect Preparation arc. Born with Heavenly Restriction, which grants her enhanced physical abilities, but at the expense of her Jujutsu, Maki has finally achieved her dream of conquering the Jujutsu world. But at what cost? Her twin Mai sacrificed her life to take away what little cursed energy they shared between them, successfully unlocking the full potential of Maki's Heavenly Restriction. With Mai's death, Maki lost what little sympathy she might have felt for her heartless family, and in the bloodiest act of vengeance, murdered the entire clan. Already proficient in the use of weapons, Maki now wields Kumiya Juzo's masterpiece, Dragon Bone, which can accumulate cursed energy and expel it at the user's discretion. She also holds Mai's last construction, the Split Soul Katana, which cuts through the soul of its target. With these 2 artifacts and a body of steel, Maki strikes us as a divine soldier sent to crush all forms of injustice. And now for the big reveal. The star of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Okotsu Yuta, is our top Jujutsu student. Sharing the same bloodline as Gojo Satoru, which traces back to one of the big vengeful spirits of Japan, Yuta is a freak of nature. He was just a child when he unconsciously created the cursed spirit Rika by rejecting the death of his dearest friend. From his inception into Jujutsu High and later on during Geto Suguru's attack, he displays exemplary skills. But it's after he breaks Rika's curse that Yuta taps into his inner self. After Gojo is sealed during Kenjaku's culling game, Yuta steps in as Jujutsu High's strongest ally. An all-arounder, his immense cursed energy allows him to perform every form of Jujutsu. The manifestation of his innate technique, the Spirit Rika, continues to supply him with extraordinary powers. The most noteworthy of these is his ability to copy any cursed technique, even hereditary ones like the Inumaki clan's cursed speech. What surprises us the most is Yuta's kind nature in spite of his limitless powers, which makes him a beacon of hope in humanity's darkest moments. With 5 years worth of manga material yet to be animated, we sure are impatient for the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is out this July. Who among the characters not yet animated are you dying to see?